couldn't be more grateful to her and to my kids who helped put this together. This, just to give some context over here, about a month ago I got a call from Los Angeles, from most of my family's that my uncle, who was just shy of his 95th birthday, was very ill, and subsequently he passed away, and I flew out to Los Angeles. I was only there for about a day and a half, and on my way back from the airport here, and I spoke with my son, had called me, and we're talking on the phone, and he was talking about my uncle. My uncle, by the way, his name is Yehuda ben Yitzchak, and my son suggested, why don't we maybe do a Siyyum of Mishnayos? And I didn't even think about it. I said that would be such a beautiful thing to do, and didn't know whichever you got together. I learned the Mishnayos very slowly, and to do a Seder Mishnayos, it seemed daunting. My son was working on Siyyum. I wanted to wish a mazel tov to my son Ari Leg, who just made a Siyyum on the Seches Ivamos in Yeshiva, and so he was very busy, and so to do this, but it's very special because it's a very special person who we want to do this for. My uncle, we refer to him as my Uncle Jerry in our family. My Uncle Jerry was somebody who was not a Shomer mitzvah, not an Orthodox observant Jew, but there was one mitzvah that I admired very much and continue to admire, and is in many ways a model for me, and that is the mitzvah of Emunas Hashem, belief in Hashem. He was a man who had tremendous amount of faith, emunah, and he showed it throughout his life. If I could just give a couple of examples, he grew up in Chicago. Family did not have much money. He grew up in the 1920s, 1930s, and didn't get much of a formal Jewish education. He once told me that his parents hired a Melamed, a Hebrew teacher. And so I imagine the person who they hired was some European Jew who spoke mostly Yiddish and was really not so, unfortunately, so schooled in the ways of dealing with American children. So my uncle told me, so the Melamed, the teacher, come and teach him, and whenever my uncle had a question, so the Melamed would give him a patch, and so he once told me this, because as I was starting becoming observant, and really nobody else in the family is really, but I started becoming observant, and he told me that, and that was unfortunately, again, we don't judge people who went through such a thing, but throughout his life, despite the fact that he was not. Actually, he was a very pious man in his own right, and they say the test of a person who's really a true Baal Mami, a true somebody who has true faith, is the test and tribulation they have through his life. And for him, he had some incredible tests. Just to mention a couple, my uncle had three children, and my cousin, his middle son, he had three children. He had 2 boys and girls. His middle son, my cousin Mark, Oliver Sholem, he contracted cancer, Hodgkin's disease, when he was, I believe, about 16 years old. We're talking about in the 1960s, and the treatments for something like this was particularly. And so you can imagine, it was quite a test. Then the best treatment was in a hospital up in Stanford University, which the drive from Stanford University from Los Angeles was about an 8-hour drive up and back, and that he used to take them. I regularly take him for treatments there, mostly radiation. I don't know if they had much chemotherapy back then, and. I remember, that hearing, the story goes that my uncle made made a deal with God, and had a deal, and Baruch Hashem, my cousin did pull through at that time, and since then my uncle became a very, very steady shul attendee. Not an Orthodox shul, but a shul, more of a conservative shul. But so he went through that, and then later on, and my cousin, the same cousin who had got the Russians, he later, when he was in his, I believe in his late 30s, early 40s, contracted a lung cancer. They say that it was likely due to all the radiation that he had as a young boy, but unfortunately he was nifter from that. But through all this, my uncle said, you believe in God, and you don't. You take the good, you take what we perceive as the bad, and you don't question. And that's how he lived his life. Never questioned. Later on, his wife, my aunt, she had a terrible stroke, and it left her, almost really confined to a wheelchair, and she could hardly speak. And he cared for her, it took all of his resources, both financial and physical, to care for her. It was just a tremendous thing to do. And again, never complained about it. And that's the kind of man that he was. And just a couple of other things that what I recall is that he was a man of, his word was his word, and a person of tremendous integrity. Never owed anybody anything. Always, you were out to dinner with him. He always paid, and he wouldn't allow people to do for him. Always did, and tremendously honest. He had a liquor store, and just tremendous honest with the way he dealt with people, with customers, and we all admired him for that. And we knew, that Uncle Jerry, he was the religious one in the family, in the broader family. And that was backed by his tremendous integrity, and it was really a model. And if anybody in the family wanted to know something, what's the right thing to do, so they would always say, well, call Jerry and talk to him about it, because he had just this very innate sense of being able to detect and to distill right from wrong, and I heard him a tremendous Akarsa was tremendous inspiration for me, and later becoming observant. He's the one that tried as much as he could. He always had the Seder at his house, and I didn't, unfortunately, never really appreciate it much until I became frum, and later really appreciated what a tremendous person he was. So this tremendous, this Siyyum was for Yisha, Elias Neshama for him, and I appreciate so much all of you coming and being a part of this, and tremendous Kiddush Hashem. Okay. So just going to finish up over here. I want to thank our Leib again for helping quite a bit, and Hershey also learned with me a little bit on Kedushin, and so this is a family event, and I want to thank everybody for chipping in here to make this Siyyum. We're finishing Seder Noshim Mishnayos. I'm not going to read the whole last Mishnah because it's quite lengthy, but the last Mishnah in Kedushin deals with Parnasa and different types of work, the trades. What's the best kind of profession to go into, and what's the best kind of trade to teach your son, and so forth. And going through everything, it's just, really the best thing is Torah. That's really the best thing, because that's, that works for you. When you're working and after you retire, you learn and you continue to get reward, and long after you're able to do whatever malacha that you did. So I'm just going to pick up over here. Yeah. Rabbi Nahai Omer, Menich ani kol unay shaba'ol me'eni malamed es yoni el Torah. Forget all these different professions. I'm going to teach my kid Torah. Because a person, he can serve you a reward in this world for the Torah that you learned, but the principle that's really left for you in the next world. By any other profession, it doesn't work quite that way. or a zikno and a yisurin, the any yachol also the moach. So a person gets old, he's no longer able to work anymore, he's no longer able to do his trade. He dies, and sometimes he dies in poverty and famine because he doesn't have a way to support himself. The Torah came. The Torah is not like that. Mishama so the Torah and Rusa and Snelo Achris particular is Nuso. It protects you while you're young. It protects you while you're old. And Vinuso Mahomer when he's young. What does it say there? The Kol Hashem Yachlifu Koach. What does it say about a person who's old? Oh, you would say about the pain who Omer Avram Avinu Al Vasham. This is also by Avraham. The Avraham Zaken. Avraham was old. Hashem Berachas Avraham B'Kol. And Hashem blessed Abraham with everything. Tznisha Asa Avraham Avinu Es Kol Torah Kula Ad Shelo. And we see that Abraham kept the entire Torah even before the Torah was given on Sinai. As it says, Shemar Ekev Asher Shema Avraham B'Kolim Mishmor Mishmarti Mitzvosai Chukosai V'Torosai. Slik on the Sefes Kedushin. Hadron Alach Seder Nashim the Hadron Alach. Hadron Alach Seder Nashim the Datan Alach. Lo Nishchemenek Seder Nashim. Lo Nishemin who wrote Aden below the Alma Naase. Hamid Oil and Hair, SD Reiter, Neo, Pios, Uncle Israel, in Kulan Achino, it says the Am, it says Chali Israel, Honda Shmeko, Laser Sefali Shma, and invite to Kakmani, Mitsosefa, Kilam Hili, Lidi Sami, the Kukecha, Laman Lo Ebosh, Olam Lo Eshpak, the Kodecha, Kibam Chaisani. Baruch atah Adonai lamdeinu kukecha amen 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 selah ve'od. Mori anu fenech Adonai Eloheinu la'oseinu. Shesamte chelki yoshvei beis hamidrash lo yivnosh bekarnos shani mashkim v'hei mashkimin ani mashkim l'divrei Torah v'hei mashkim l'dvar d'teilim v'ani oil v'heim amelim ani oil m'kabel schar v'heim amelim v'einu m'kabel schar ani v'ratzim v'heim ratzim l'ver shachos v'ani ratzim chai olam aval shemar v'atah Elohim tzarideinu l'ver shachos anshe dami v'mirma lo yechsu yamehem v'ani etachbach Hashem she'azartani l'sayim seder Nashim Hak Tazreinu Lahas Chil Sparta Cherin U'Sayim U'Lo L'Mei B'Tok HaKhava B'Shmor L'Asos L'Chaim is called Divrei Talmud V'Tzemel B'Yahava. Is it was called HaTanaim L'Saminei Chachamim and V'Zkarim B'Shishit B'Seder Nashim Shlo Tevosh HaTorah HaKadosha V'Pi Zari Zari V'Tavi Olam V'Koyam Bani V'Koshkuzu He's Alacha, Tanche Oscha, Vishachcha, Tishmar Alacha, Lapitsosa, Est Sisichecha, Kibi Yarbu, Venecha, Vesipolacha, Shnos Kayim. Och Yami Venecha, Osher Chalad, Bismillah, Anos, Anos, Lomitena, Rex, Shalom. Yiskadal, Shemei Rabah. Amen. Yama, Dekul Asilis Karatal, Achaya, Masia, or Sakal Hayoma, with Ne Karta, Dushlein, Lashachlil, Hakle, Begave, Lamakad, Pulchana, Nukhra, Merelas, Villa Asava, Pulchana, Ishmael Asre, Yamlik Kusha Bariku, Malkuse, Vikare, Bechayakon, Yokon, Hayakov Israel, Bagalavis Makari, Amen. Amen. Yisbrach, Yishtabach, Yisvar, Yismar, Yisnaseh, Yisadar, Yislay, Yisalah, Shmei, Kusha, Bariku. Yel, Yukhav, Chasav, Yishosah, Tush, Chasav, Benechamasa, Temram, Yalma, Bibu, Amen. On Yisrael, Yalrabram, Yalkanehom, Yalkal, Taneh, Salehom, Yalkal, Mind, Aiskin, Baraisa, Yibasa, Hevin, Bidi, Sarg, Sarg, Yehin, Lakon, Lakon, Shama, Rabba, Kachin, Christa, Rachem, Rachem, Chaya, Riche, Muzana, Riche, V'siyata Dishmaya, V'kona, Mikaro, Alom Dishmaya, V'ara, Yivu, Amen. Amen. Hey, Shalom, Shemaya, L'chaim, Tovim, Alena, Koyisrael, Yivu, Amen. Amen. V'sei Shalom, Yivu, Akuya, say Shalom, Alena, V'ya, Koyisrael, Yivu, Amen. Amen. Zoom in? Thank you. Zoom in?